Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the West End Imps show. We're back after a little bit of a break. I am joined by Chris, as always. Chris, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, good morning, mate. Very well, thank you. Could have done with a better yesterday, I suppose, all things considered, both club and country-wise, but, you know.
Yeah, we just spoke about the England game off air, and we're not here to talk about England. We're here to talk about Lincoln City and the 0-0 draw against Wickham. It was an unchanged team, Chris, from the defeat at Shrewsbury, which was quite surprising given how flaccid the team were in that last sort of 65 minutes away at Salop. We're surprised to see that we remained unchanged given the fact that the likes of Garrett came back, into contention. Mandroya was supposed to be back in contention as well. Were you surprised to see that Mark had stuck with the same players?
Not massively. I think partly Kennedy's philosophy is giving players a chance to rectify previous errors, perhaps, which I think is probably why Robbo. I was surprised, I guess, that Rowan didn't come in just because I thought he's probably a bit stronger in the air, and we know what Wickham are about. But I wasn't massively surprised. I think that, it was the same team that didn't play well last week, but it was also the team that did play well previously against Accrington. So for me, good to have a bench that looks like we've got options coming off it. But I don't think there was any massive surprise. I think there was a few players that perhaps yesterday were expected to, shine or at least put behind their personal performances against Salop. But, it is what it is. And I do think it's a really good starting 11. So no big shakes for me, no problem for me.
And the game sort of followed a bit of a similar script to the Shrewsbury game because we probably started off the better side. I can think of at least 2 or 3 times Penhouse nicked the ball off their centre halves and drove towards goal. Just probably made the wrong decision, which is why we've only had 1 shot on target. First half, not really a lot happened, did it?
I mean, no, not really. Not much that I can recall. Like you say, I think we started brightly. We've got into a really good habit of doing that the last sort of half dozen games or so, I think, maybe a couple more. But it's really positive to see us on the front foot early doors, trying to get an early goal. But I mean, apart from 1 or 2 opportunities that kind of, like you say, when Housey nicked the ball, I just think throughout the game, probably decision making wasn't quite where it should have been or could have been. But I think we started well. It was a nothing game, really, wasn't it? I mean, after about 10 minutes, I think we was all looking at each other going, it's got 0-0 written all over it. And lo and behold, it was 0-0.
And going the other way for a side, obviously, who came in the playoff finalist runners-up last year, didn't particularly threaten us. Brandon Hanlon, who we were supposedly interested in a couple of maybe 18, 20 months ago, he didn't particularly threaten. I thought their biggest threat sort of came down the right-hand side. David Wheeler was clearly dominating Robbo in the air, wasn't he? And that allowed them to get up the pitch pretty easily. But only the one save from Rushworth in that first half that I can remember, and it wasn't tepid. But it shows you, and Gab Sutton has said this, that he was really impressive, our back three. And what were your thoughts on their performance yesterday? Because I thought they were excellent collectively.
I think defensively that's been a huge bonus for us this season in comparison to last season when I think we were quite poor defensively. O'Connor just grows and grows with each game. I thought he was a bit shaky first few games, but I think for me he's been just kicked my table over. Been absolutely outstanding. And that back 3/back 5 I think is incredibly strong. My only concern, and I think I've said it before, is that with the wing-backs, they're not the most creative wing-backs, whether that's Poole or TJ. They do a brilliant job, don't get me wrong. I'm not kind of dissing them at all. But when you look at other teams playing that similar formation, creatively, the wing-backs have got to provide more in terms of those sort of final third runs, those balls into the box and stuff. But for me, and I think we had a bit of a chat at half-time, for me, O'Connor, Jackson, Walsh, that's up there with the sort of best defences, I think, personally, in the league. I just think they're incredibly strong. Walsh is a very good player on the ball. O'Connor will not shirk a challenge. Jacko won't shirk a challenge. So, really impressed over the whole season. and particularly in games like yesterday, it didn't feel like Wycombe came to do anything other than get a point. And it didn't feel that they offered a great deal. My only anxiety came when Vokes came on with the last sort of 25 or so to go, because he's got quite a good habit of scoring again. But yeah, I think we marshalled them well. You know what you're going to get with Wycombe. I'm a bit disappointed with the fact they don't necessarily seem to progress season on season. Does that make sense? You know, I think that they've been the same type of team for a number of years, and they do what they do very well. They're very effective, but they are quite functional. So yeah, I just think that we weren't massively under threat.
No, yeah, I would agree. I think the only time we came under threat really was that brief moment in the second half where there was a bit of pinball in our penalty area. I think the post was stuck a couple of times. Anis Mehmeti was causing a couple of problems, but apart from that, I don't think, like you said, Wycombe really offered too much. When Vokes came on, I thought they lost that directness, that ability to win in behind. They also took off Mehmeti, who was probably one of their better players, and McCleary also came off. Not a lot really happened towards the end of the second half. It was sort of two sides that were fizzling out and said, you know what, we'll take a draw, given the fact that it saw Wycombe move up in the table as we've moved down. But man of the match, Chris, it's been quite a short episode this week, but who would you suggest that won your man of the match award yesterday?
I think, for me anyway, Virtue's always putting in good performance. I think for me, I'm going to give it to O'Connor. Because I just thought he was again just outstanding. Nothing really getting past him. So yeah, for me, I think it like you say, it just petered out second half, and I just don't think the team was going to break. We could still be playing now, and it'd still be 0-0. So yeah, O'Connor for me. I thought he was excellent again. What about yours?
And to be really boring, I'm going to completely agree with you. I'm not going to go for Jack Diamond this time. I thought Wycombe did a decent job on Jack and doubling up with him. But he still made an impact when he could. But O'Connor was sensational in the air with the ball at his feet. I thought he was very calm, very tempered with the ball. Stood up for his teammates when he had to. But I'm not. I think I brought it up to that O'Connor has probably been the signing of the summer for me. So really good performance. Now the fact the episode's a bit short, we'll probably get a little bit more to reflect on the league table, Chris, since we've probably got a couple of minutes to spare. We've moved down to 14th. Which is not the end of the world, because if we finish 14th, I think most Lincoln City fans would be pretty happy. Obviously, with games in hand, we can move up again to 9th if all things go our way, which probably they won't do. But how would you sort of assess the first 20 games of our season, and looking ahead to a busy festive period?
Overall, I'm really impressed. Overall, I'd have to say I'm really impressed. I think we've probably maybe just slightly exceeded my expectations based on the fact new manager, young manager, inexperienced manager, new players, young players, all of that stuff. So I think we probably overachieved for me a little bit. Equally, I think that you could probably point to at least 3 or 4 games that we've lost that were down to individual errors. If we cut those out, we're probably 2 or 3 places higher. We're, maybe 3 or 4 points further up. So, I'm really pleased. And I think for me, every season is about improvement. And if we finish 14th, I'm going to be more than happy with that. It shows improvement, it shows progression. I think that it's very tight, isn't it? I think there's about 4 points between kind of us and 8th, 7th place or something, is it? Without looking at the table right now, I can't.
So there's us on 27, and then Peterborough on 31, and we have a game in hand on Peterborough, so we can go back.
It's quite condensed, that sort of top half of the table, but let's not get ridiculously overinflated opinions. We're a good League One mid-table side at this stage, and I think going to be very interested and excited with the January window. Also, a little bit concerned, I guess, because I think perhaps we're more likely to lose than bring in. But we're probably 1 or 2 creative players short of being a very good top 10 League One side, in my opinion. So 14th for me at this stage going into Christmas. We've looking at the fixtures over Christmas, not easiest of fixtures towards, we've got Bolton at home at the end of December, but I do feel we can go away next weekend and pick up points. So I think it's been a really decent first half or so of the season. What about you?
Yeah, I think defensively it's been a much better improvement. I think it's 6 clean sheets in the league already, which this time last year we had 1, which was really poor. But again, I think, like you say, I think a solid mid-table League One side who realised that last year our defence was our weak point. We've since clearly combated that, and we've changed that. Our defence is now probably our strong point. And I think the task going forward for Mark is going to be to add attacking flair to this team on a more permanent basis. I think whilst it's good that we've got the likes of Garrick and Diamond, who are 2 big attacking threats for us, no doubt, we're going to want to add more players of that sort of calibre and attacking style to our team going forward on a permanent basis. And I think that's the challenge next summer. I don't think that's a challenge for this summer. I don't see the club investing as heavily this January as they did last year, because obviously we're not really in any threat of going down. I think we're something like 27, and the bottom 4's on 20, so 7 points clear of safety at this moment in time. With a game in hand, so that could become 10. So I don't think we're in any threat of losing our position, but a really good season nonetheless. So, right, I think we've just about managed to get over about 11 minutes or so. So I think we've done a good job considering that the game yesterday was horrendous. Thank you, Chris, for coming on. As always, we'll be back next week. Cheltenham away, which is a game we're both going to. The return of Big Dan, which I am very much looking forward to. I literally cannot wait to see Big Dan. But thank you for watching. Please do make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the channel, as we are trying to reach 1,000 subs. It would mean the world to me and the rest of us here at the Stacey West. So, apart from that, Chris, I have to just say, up the Imps.
Up the Imps. Have a good weekend.